All right, we're live. Okay, got the notes up here. We're just going to start. We're going to go through it. I've been working on this over the last day and a half. There's probably still some notes that I need to update in real time, but this is just me getting my thoughts out. All right, it's the 121st World Series. That's 11 squared. 121 is also the 40th semi-prime and the 90th composite. 11 and 40 will be, we'll touch on those numbers. So they always give a clue. The College World Series always gives a clue to who will win the real World Series, okay? So, for example, well, actually, I'm not going to go into examples because I've already covered this in other live streams. But basically, LSU won the College World Series on June 22nd. 226 is the 76th semi-prime, so we'll keep 76 in mind. Tigers equals 39. LSU is the Tigers. 56 is the 39th composite. We'll touch on 56 later. June 22nd is the 173rd day of the year, which is the 40th composite number, which connects with 121 being the 40th semi-prime. LSU Tigers also equals 40. Tigers equals 84. And then later that night, the Oklahoma City Thunder, who used to be the Seattle Supersonics, got their 84th win of the season on the same day. That was 131 days before Halloween. Halloween will be Game 6 of the World Series. That's what I'm thinking that will be the final day. That'll be the deciding game of the World Series, I'm thinking. I remember championship equals 131. All right, the other major hint that they give us is Major League Cricket. Or cricket is a similar sport to baseball. They're not really the same, but they are similar. They are related. Major League Cricket only started a few years ago, but it's been in the 2 years that they've had it, there have been major clues to the eventual World Series winner. This year it was MI New York. MI New York also won it in 2 years ago, the inaugural season. New York beat Washington. New York has a lot of connections with Seattle. So far, in the 2 years that they've done this tournament, the team from the team that won Major League Cricket, that corresponding metro area, if they had a team in the postseason, they did not win it. Like last year, Washington won it. Baltimore did not get out of the first round. The year before that, New York won it. I don't think any New York team even made the playoffs in 2023. This New York team, the MI New York team, I've already done a video on them. They're heavily connected to 9/11. Again, MI New York equals 47. That's the name of the team. 47 stories on the on Building 7. And again, New York. There's a lot of New York Seattle connections. Seattle used to be called New York. All the 9/11 connections with New York. I'll talk about that later. But anyways, the final score of that game was 180 to 175. So that's 355 total runs. 355 is the 112th semi-prime, and it was 112 days before 11/2, which 11/2 is a Sunday. Halloween is a Friday, which is going to be Game 6. So I'm thinking the World Series is going to end on the 31st, and then whoever wins will have their parade 2 days later on November 2nd. I should also point out that this game was on 13/7. That's the 13th of July, and 137 is the 33rd prime number, and New York equals 33. I'm trying to think. July 13th is what day of the year? Let me do a quick search on another tab. July 13th is the 194th day of the year. 171 days remaining. Yeah, so 171 is the 18th triangular number, like IHS. There's probably something with 194 that I can't think of. All right, the next thing was Little League World Series. That was on August 24th, day leaving 129 days left in the year. We know that 129 is 201 base 8. It was Taiwan won the Little League World Series. They're officially called Chinese Taipei for the tournament due to political reasons, but everyone knows them as Taiwan. They won 7-0, and 56, like Society of Jesus, is 70 in base 8. Taiwan does equal 68 and 94, like Seattle. Of course, they have that Taipei 101, which kind of looks like the Space Needle. Maybe that's a stretch. What they were known by in the tournament, Chinese Taipei equals 69, like how the American League is going for their 69th World Series win. And another 56. The team was from Taipei. Taipei, Taiwan equals 56. All right, now there were 3 major deaths connected to baseball this year. The first, Octavio Dotel. He was dead at age 51. Octavio Dotel equals 51. He played for a bunch of teams, but out of the teams that are still in the playoffs, he played for the Yankees, Dodgers, Blue Jays, and Tigers. He actually finished his career with the Tigers. Dead 33 weeks before his birthday, and 19 weeks and 1 day after his birthday, which we know Society of Jesus equals 191. The other major former player death was Bobby Jenks. I should point out, I think he was dead at 44. Let me just confirm that. Yeah, Bobby Jenks dead at 44. Dead at 44. Like kill. All right, he won the 101st World Series. So I was just talking about 101 with Taipei. 101st World Series. That was in 2005, like 2005. Now we're in 25. By the way, 2005 was the last year before this year that there was no hitter in the entire season, and same thing happened again this year. No hitter. But yeah, that was Chicago White Sox over Houston. So Chicago over Houston. The other Chicago team ended up winning the 112th World Series, and Houston equals 112. And they won the 112th World Series. I should find that on 11/2. I'm pretty sure it was on. Yeah, it was. It was on 11/2. Yeah, his full name, Robert Scott Jenks equals 101, 101st World Series. Dead 119 days before what I'm thinking is going to be the end of the World Series. I may have given away something here, but take it as you wish. Okay, the next one, Charlie Kirk, another 112. Charlie Kirk's from the Chicago area. He's a big Cubs fan. Dead on the day, leaving 112 days left in the year. Again, Bobby Jenks, 112 days after his birthday, and 112 days before Game 1 of the World Series. Charlie Kirk, 112 days left in the year. And yeah, another 44. 44 days before Game 1 of the World Series, on the same day that number 44, Anthony Rizzo, retired. And we'll talk about Charlie Kirk more in this live stream. Okay, we're going to go through all the teams involved. First off is the Blue Jays. So it's their, I don't know, why did I write Blue Jays equals 105 there? Oh, because they could get to 105 win. Okay. I see what I did. Okay, so it's their 49th season. 49 is the 33rd composite number. It's also the 17th semi-prime. But anyways, Blue Jays equal 105. They finish the season with 94 wins. If they get 11 more, they'll win the World Series. Charlie Kirk equals 105. Blue Jays have an Alejandro Kirk. I looked at his birthday. There wasn't really his birthday is November 6th. I didn't find anything significant about that. I know it's the day leaving 55 days left in the year. So it's the 56th, the last day of the year. It's written 11/6. I can't think of anything significant of that. Again, Toronto ON is 97, the 25th prime. We're in 25. Blue Jays equals 121. This is the 121st World Series. The Blue Jays have 31 playoff wins. Actually, that's no longer significant. I started writing this on Sunday during the games in the event. I wrote that in the event that the Blue Jays would have lost and the Yankees would have won the division, but that's not the case, so we can cross that out. Yeah, I'd have to think about John Schneider there's something with like 118 or something like that. Yeah, I feel like there is something with Blue Jays and 118. Why do I feel like there's something with... No, it's a 117? I feel like there's something with the Blue Jays and like either 117 or 118. Let me just pull it up here. Blue Jays. Okay, Toronto is 117. That's what it is. Toronto is 117. So, if the Blue Jays do go 11-3 in the playoffs, John Schneider will be 11-7 all time in the playoffs. So we'll see. I mean, the 121 thing is the one that really stands out, and the fact that Blue Jays equal 105, they can they've got a Kirk. All right, the next one, the Mariners. It's their 49th season as well. They came into the league at the same time as the Blue Jays, 1977, not 1777. It's their 49th season, which is the 33rd composite number. The Seahawks won their only Super Bowl on the 33rd day of the year, and that was in New York. New York equals 33. And, of course, technically that game was in New Jersey. New Jersey equals 119. Mariners equals 119. Of course, the Seahawks and Mariners aren't the same team, but they played at the same stadium for a long time at the Kingdome. They play right next to each other right now. Of course, Seattle lost to New York just after 9/11 in the ALCS, and that was also the Seahawks' first Super Bowl appearance was Super Bowl 40. And now this is, remember, 121 is 40th composite. All right, so they finished the season with 90 wins, 90-72. We were talking about 101 up here. Bobby Jenks, hero of the 101st World Series, dead. Taipei has the Taipei 101. Was there another 101? I don't think there was. I don't know if there was another 101 in there, but so and Bobby Jenks is from the Seattle area too. So that's something to think about. Of course, 25 is a big number in Seattle. Mariners equals 97, the 25th prime. Seattle WA equals 25. Or the Mariners hosted the All-Star game the year of the 97th World Series, which was 2001, and they set the win record with 116 wins, and then they won 3 more in the ALDS to get to 119. So they entered the ALCS against the Yankees just after 9/11 with 119 wins. And yeah, something interesting about Seattle's playoff record, they're 17-22. So 11 more will get them to 28. So if they go like 11-6 in the playoffs, they'll be 28-28 all time in the playoffs. That's something to consider. And their star Cal Raleigh, he's got the 76 connections, which goes along with LSU, and I can't remember the other 76 connections. But the thumbnail of this live stream is their manager, Dan Wilson. All right, so he enters the playoffs 111-85. Hold on, I'm going to have to pull up a new tab here. Give me a second, because I want to show this to you guys. Okay. Nope, I need to pull it up. Hang on a second. It's not. Why is it not showing up? There it is. Okay. Here we go. All right. Look at where Dan Wilson was born. Arlington Heights, Illinois. Where was Charlie Kirk born? Wait, what? No, okay, sorry, that's another thing. Just Charlie Kirk. Arlington Heights, Illinois. Look at that. So Dan Wilson, I'd have to look over when Dan Wilson, he took over as manager last year when Scott Service got fired. I should look at when he got, when he became manager. Hey, look, it made his debut on September 7th, but he actually didn't start out with the Mariners. He started out with the Reds. So September 7th, 9-7. Mariners 97. So his name is Dan Wilson, right? Dan Wilson, 111. How many wins as manager is he on right now? Oh, shoot, I have to click on manager stats. Manager stats. Dan Wilson, 111 wins as manager right now. So if he wins 11 more, he'll get to 122. And Seattle is on the 122nd meridian west, also on 47th parallel north. Of course, we know 47 is key. But anyways, from the, Dan Wilson's birthday, or sorry, yes, Dan Wilson's birthday. No, hold on, I have to pull this up because I don't remember the top of my head. Oh wait, no, I have notes written down here on my phone. Do I have it? No, okay. Oh, the other thing with Dan Wilson that I forgot to share, or I forgot to point out. So you see Dan Wilson's 39. 56 is the 39th composite. Like New York is 39. New York 39. Look at that nice overlap between Dan Wilson and New York. I wonder if maybe one day Dan Wilson will be the Yankees manager or the Mets manager. But anyways, 56 is the 39th composite number. And we know, I was talking earlier about the Seattle and 56 connections because, what is it? Mariners is 56 and Seattle WA is 56. Remember, the Kingdome was demolished on 26/3. 263 is the 56th prime number. And that was from the 1-year anniversary of the Kingdome's demolishment to 9/11 was 169 days, when 169 is the 56th semi-prime. Okay, so sorry, where am I going with all this? We have to look at the day that, no, we're looking at Charlie Kirk's birthday. October 14th, 1993, right? Now we're going to look at Dan Wilson's birthday, March 25th. We're going to go to his next birthday, so March 25th, 1994. 162 days later, all right? Where does that number come from? Oh, sorry, I have to type out the whole league. Major League Baseball, 162. And again, Charlie Kirk, a big Cubs fan. And there was also something significant. Let's see if I can remember what it was. Here we go. From when? No, it's from not 2025. Sorry, from the day Charlie Kirk was assassinated until what I'm thinking is going to be the end of the World Series is 51 days later. All right, it's also a month and 21 days later. Like this is the 121st World Series. 51 days later, again, Dan Wilson equals 51. And Seattle was also first established in 1851. There we go, founded 1851, right there. And of course you had, another thing I have to talk about. Yeah, here's another thing I have to talk about. 2007 MLB All-Star Game. Who won the MVP of that game? It was Ichiro. Ichiro won the MVP of the 2007 All-Star Game. Because remember, I talked about this in a video last year. Treaty of San Francisco. Treaty of San Francisco, signed in 1951. All right, and the first ever Japanese player in Major League Baseball was Masanori Murakami. Who did he play for? He played for San Francisco, and he had a win-loss record of 5-1. All right, and he also, where's another thing about him? Oh yeah, he was born on 5/6, 127th day of the year. Does that scream Pearl Harbor to you? Because that was a leap year. And of course, Ichiro wore number 51. I guess you don't see him wearing number 51, but Also, okay. Anyways, from the day of this game, right? It was July 10th, 2007. July 10th, 2007, until the 56-year anniversary of the signing of from that game in San Francisco until the 56-year anniversary of the signing of the Treaty of San Francisco. That was 60 days, right? Pearl Harbor is 60. All right, and Ichiro's had Pearl Harbor connections all throughout his life. Like, look at here, Ichiro's Ichiro number retirement. What day was that on? That was on August 9th. When was the bombing of Nagasaki? What day was that on? Oh, August 9th. Do you think that's a coincidence that Ichiro's number was retired on the anniversary of the bombing of Nagasaki? I mean, when was that? Was the 80th? Is that right? This is the 80th anniversary. Like, shoot, I always get my Illuminatis mixed up. Yeah, so Bavarian Illuminati, 127, like the date of Pearl Harbor. 80, like, Ichiro's number retired on the 80th anniversary of the Illuminati. The Illuminati was founded on May 1st by Adam Weishaupt, if I can spell his name right. That's another 51. Also, the first splash hit at AT&T Park. First splash hit at it was called it wasn't called AT&T Park back then, but it was on May 1st, 5/1. That was also the 122nd day of the year because that was a leap year, and satanic is 122, like how this Church of Satan is from San Francisco, but that's another topic for another day. Okay. And I think there's shoot, I forget what Ichiro. Yeah, Ichiro's 44. We were just talking about 44 a minute ago. I forgot why we were talking about 44, but I was right because Mariners is 44. No, it's Seattle. Maybe it's Seattle. Yeah, Seattle's 44. That's what it is. Okay. That was one more thing. We have to talk about this. So Ichiro won the MVP of that All-Star game that I was just talking about. But I was actually at this game as a 10-year-old.
My ball, I think somehow is sinking out here. It's
heck. Okay. But I was at this game as a 10-year-old. Now watch this inside the park home run. I don't want to listen to Joe Buck's voice. That's why I put on mute. Okay, so first of all, look who he hit it to. That's former Mariner Ken Griffey Jr. But so basically what happens is it goes out here into right field, and it takes a weird bounce away from him. Now, I was at this game as a 10-year-old, and I was sitting like somewhere way over here in left field. I had always assumed that the ball hit this part of the wall and went back this way, and that's why, and because Ken Griffey Jr. just misplayed it because he thought it was going to bounce that way, and I thought, oh, it must have like hit this wall and bounced this way. But if we watch it from here, it doesn't hit. It hits something in there, and if we have to fast forward a bit to the close-up replay. Oh, they have it. Here it is. Watch this. So it doesn't hit. Hold on. So it's coming, and you see it's coming in. It's about to hit the wall. So it hits the wall here. It doesn't hit like one of these like weird things that juts out. It just like hits the wall and bounces the other way. Like I don't think I've ever seen a baseball do something like that unless it's like one of those weird dribblers out in front of home plate that like comes back, that goes foul and then comes back into fair territory. But like, so I can understand that like, yeah, it is possible to put spin on a baseball, but on a ball hit this far, I'm doubting that. Like it does make you wonder if there is like how much the technology, if there is a technology, influences plays like that. And also in this season, in the World Series, Daisuke Matsuzaka became the first Japanese pitcher to win a World Series game. That was with the Red Sox. And of course, the Red Sox have a 9/11 connection too. I was talking, what did I say, Pearl Harbor? Wait, Pearl Harbor 114, right? Pearl Harbor 114. Who won the 114th World Series? It was the Red Sox. Let's look at the 114th World Series. 114th World Series. Red Sox won that. So they won 108 in the regular season, plus 11. So they won 119 games to win the 114th World Series. When Pearl Harbor was, 9/11 was called the new Pearl Harbor. And yeah, I remember two of the flights on 9/11 took off from Boston and crashed in New York. And ever since then, Boston's had a bunch of championships and New York has had barely any. Okay, I think... Okay, and also, I did want to mention a little bit more about Dan Wilson because before he was on the... Oh, and he is 56 years old right now, too. What did I say? Mariners 56, Seattle WA 56. He's 56 years old. So that means it's his 57th year. He's in his 57th year of life. His 57th birthday is coming up in not too long. Of course, World Series, that big 57 number. From the potential end date of the World Series until his birthday, until his 57th birthday, 145 days, like Catholic, but you see 205 right there, right? Let's do a span of 20 weeks and 6 days. Remember, the Seattle area code is 206. Remember they beat the Chicago Cubs on the 20th of June, 206. Yeah, let's look that up. Cubs, Mariners, June 20th. Yeah, they won 9-4. 94. Seattle, Washington, 94. All right, 94 is also the 33rd semi-prime, like New York. And as I said, they're in their 49th season, which is the 39th composite number. Yeah, just to prove to you that... What win did they get in that game? They got their 38th win. Cubs stayed on 45 wins. I want to see... Hold on. Just to show you, 94 is the 33rd semi-prime. 94, 33rd semi-prime. There we go. Okay, I don't need that anymore. Okay, I think that's enough about the Mariners for now. We're going to go back. We're going to go to another team. Oh, and I guess one thing I forgot to mention was... Yeah, I'm going to pull this back up. Hang on, what's going on? Okay, sorry, I had to get the right tab up. So Dan Wilson played for, if we go back to his player stats here, he played for the Reds before he played for the Mariners. And so, of course, Reds, Mariners, you're probably only thinking of one guy. It's Ken Griffey Jr. And of course, Ken Griffey Jr., that was the guy that Ichiro hit that inside the park home run over his head. And yeah, Ken Griffey Jr., he was traded for, what's his name? He was traded for, oh yeah. Oh, he vetoed a trade to the Mets that would have sent Octavio Dotel there. Interesting. But he ended up getting traded for Mike Cameron. Mike Cameron was the big name that came back over. And Mike Cameron wore number 44. We were just talking about 44. Let's just see. Yeah, Mike Cameron. 44 with the Reds. 44 with the Mariners. Oh, yeah, I didn't know he was on the Marlins at the end of his career. But yeah. Where did 44 go? Wait, is it Seattle Mariners? Yes. No, wait. Was just Seattle? What was? Yeah, Seattle 44. That's what it was. Sorry. Yeah, Seattle is 44. Okay. And yeah, and the Reds were the last team to sneak in the playoffs. We'll talk about the Reds later on in this live stream. Okay, back to the notes. Okay, the next one's the Guardians. I didn't really see anything that stood out for them other than Cleveland, Ohio's 226, and they were in the 112th World Series. Like how the 112 is a big number with Bobby Jenks and Charlie Kirk's deaths. Cleveland, Ohio does equal 226. Like how the College World Series ended on 226. Guardians does equal 40. Remember, 121 is the 40th semi-prime. Game 7 is on Stephen Vogt's birthday. Game 7 is November 1st. That's today, leaving 60 days left in the year. Yeah, I don't know. There's not really, unless there's something that I'm not seeing, there wasn't really much that stood out for the Guardians. For the Yankees, now what's interesting about the Yankees, they have 252 playoff wins right there, as you see. If the Yankees had won their division, they would only have needed 11 wins to win the World Series, and they would have gotten to 263, which is the 56th prime. And we know 263 is a big number with 9-11, but they didn't win their division, so if they win 263, it's not going to be the World Series. They're not going to win the World Series. Now maybe they'll get to the World Series because 121 is the 11th square, New York's the 11th state. 9/11 is a big 11 ritual. So they might make the World Series. We'll see. If that was the case, yeah, if they ended up getting 11 wins to get their 263rd playoff win, Aaron Boone would get to 33 wins as a manager. 33 playoff wins as a manager, I should say. Red Sox are also, like the Guardians, are in their 125th season. I didn't see anything with their win-loss record or Alex Cora's win-loss record. Tigers are also in their 125th season. The Tigers, remember, it was the LSU Tigers that won the College World Series, so maybe there's something there. Who knows? And there was that shooting. Octavio Dotel did finish his career with the Tigers. Wasn't there a church shooting just outside Detroit recently? I have to pull up. Let's see. Oh, was this? Yeah, the one that Zach was talking about. Thomas Jacob Sanford. Oh, no, that wasn't the... Wait, was he the shooter or was that the name of the church? No, okay, that was the name of the shooter. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Is there anything like... He would get his 45th playoff win. They would get their 74th. Well, that is interesting. I'm reading Zach's decode right now. So they're taken to the victims were taken to the Henry Ford Hospital, and Henry Ford did die on 7/4, not July 4th, April 7th, or the 7th of April. So that's significant. I'll just say that Henry Ford died on 7/4. Okay. All right. Next is the National League. We're moving on to the National League. All right. The Brewers are in their 57th season. We said it earlier. That's a big World Series number. They're 56th in Milwaukee. Man, the Brewers might get bounced in the first round, but they also have a riddle to go deep. Again, Brewers equals 99. They have had 99 wins on the season. If they go out in the first round, they're finishing the season on 99 wins. If they lose 3 out of 5. Again, Milwaukee equals 100. Maybe that's a sign they'll get out of the first round. Or maybe they'll get out of the first round and then lose a few more after that in the NLCS. Hard to say. Oh, I guess one thing that I forgot to mention is in regards to, where did I put that tab? Did I close that tab? No, it's here. Hang on. Okay. Yeah, so something that I forgot to mention is that Brewers is 90. And again, 121 is the 90th composite number. Just to show you, 121, 90th composite. So I will add that to the notes. Say Brewers equals 90. 121 is 90th composite. Next is the Phillies. Again, they finished the season with 96 wins. Philadelphia equals 101. Is that a sign that, you know, they'll win the NLDS and then lose in 6? Or Philadelphia Phillies equals 106. Are they going to lose in Game 7 of the World Series? We'll see. I didn't really see anything else standing out with these. I mean, Charlie Kirk did die at the age of 31, but I don't know of any Charlie Kirk Philadelphia connections. Well, I guess Charlie Kirk is from the Chicago area, like the Pope is from the Chicago area, and he went to Villanova, which is in Philadelphia, and Charlie Kirk died at 31, so maybe there's something there. The Dodgers, involving it into 106 wins. Or involving. So what's interesting here is that Jimmy Kimmel was, of course, connected to the Charlie Kirk assassination because he got suspended. And, of course, Jimmy Kimmel broadcasts from LA. Jimmy Kimmel does equal 133. If the Dodgers do win the World Series this year, they'll get their 133rd playoff win since moving to LA. But I'll touch upon this in a little bit. I think the Dodgers are going to lose to the Reds in the first round. Again, Reds equals 46. Dave Roberts is on 44 playoff losses, but I'll touch on that. Okay, next, the Cubs. It's their 154th season. We know about 201 being the 154th composite, and 201 is the 63rd semi-prime, and there are a lot of 63s in Charlie Kirk's death. I'm just going to bring them up real quickly. Give me a second here. Hold on. Okay, what's this? Did I find it here? Hold on. Right, okay, so it was 63 days before Arturo Sosa's birthday. Of course, JFK was assassinated in 63. Oh, that's right, the Illuminati equals 63. Sorry, I'm reading Zach's blog post on it. And 63 is the 44th composite number, like he was killed on 44 date numerology. Okay, that was it. And yeah, they finished the season with... Are we still on? Yeah, I'm still on the right tab here. Cubs finished the season with 92 wins. Charlie Kirk was a Cubs fan. Charlie Kirk equals 105. They have 47 playoff wins. If they get 13 more, they'll win the World Series. Charlie Kirk does equal 60. That was as much as I could find about that. And of course, he died on the 112th day, the day leaving 112 days left in the year. And I'm thinking that the World Series parade is going to be held on 11/2. All right, next, the Padres, like the Brewers, it is their 57th season. They finished season 90 and 72. San Diego equals 74. To me, that's a sign they're losing 2 to the Cubs in the first round. Their manager, Mike Schilt, is 8-12 in the playoffs. Cubs equals 9, so they might win one game, but I think they're out in the first round. And lastly, the Reds, who snuck in. It's their 156th season. And again, they knocked out New York, and 9/11 is the 156th prime number. New York equals 156. New Pearl Harbor equals 156. Something very interesting about the Reds, they finished the season with 83 wins. Cincinnati equals 96. So if they get 13 more to win the World Series, they'll get to 96 wins on the season. Freemason equals 96. There's that whole thing with the Society of Cincinnati. Yeah, and also Reds equals 62. 49 playoff wins right now. Let's see what happens. Terry Francona, 44 playoff wins all time. Again, World Series equals 57. The same thing happened a couple years ago with Bruce Bochy, old veteran manager that comes in and guides them to the World Series from a wild card spot. I mean, I don't think they'll make it look that ridiculous. Like the Reds aren't really that good of a team. They have 83 wins. The Reds do have I talked about earlier with the Mariners connections with the Reds, Ken Griffey Jr., Dan Wilson, Mike Cameron, and the Mariners also do have a former Red on their team right now, Eugenio Suarez. I mean, a Reds Mariners World Series would be interesting. And of course, the last time the Reds won the World Series was in 1990, and 121 is the 90th composite. Now, there's something there. There's something there. That's all I'll say. Okay, let's get into the individual matchups. On the American League side, in the wild card round, Guardians versus Tigers. I didn't really see anything in the Red Sox Yankees series either that stood out. Now on the National League side, the two ones that did stand out, the Dodgers are 5-1 against the Reds on the season, or you could see that as the Reds are 1-5, and Dodgers equals 36. And they did meet in the playoffs back in 1995. Cincinnati swept that series. If the Reds win this series in 3, they'll be 5-1. There's another 51 again. They'll be 5-1 against the Dodgers all time in the playoffs. Cincinnati equals 51. So I'm thinking Reds in 3, and that goes along with, again, Terry Francona can get his 46th playoff win. Dave Roberts can get his 46th playoff loss. Reds equals 46. The other National League wildcard series, Cubs and Padres. They split the season series. They're 3-3 against each other. Cubs equals 45. So to me, that suggests that it's going to last all 3 games. They played once in the, I think, 1984 NLCS, I want to say it was. Padres won that series 3-2. Again, Charlie Kirk killed on 44, date numerology. Same day that number 44, Anthony Rizzo, retired. So if the Cubs take 2 out of 3, they'll be 4-4 against each other in the playoffs. So my pick is Cubs in 3 based on that. Okay, so let's go over some potential World Series matchups. Cubs and Mariners is probably my favorite matchup because, again, 112 was huge with the death of Bobby Jenks. 112 days after his birthday, 112 days before the start of the World Series. The other thing with 112 is the 82nd composite number, and it's on the tip of my tongue right now. And it's either Seattle or Seattle Mariners equals 82. Did I write it down? I did not write it down, but take my word. I'll just pull it up. All right, maybe it's already Maybe I already have it down here. So yeah, Seattle is 82. That's who it was. And Seattle is also 44. Just talked about 44 a bunch. Okay. I might have to talk about Seattle a little bit more, but I'm just going to get on with the matchups. My second favorite matchup is Cubs and Yankees, because that would be like the Kirk versus Trump World Series. And yeah, 4 seed versus 4 seed. Kirk dead on 44 date numerology. His dad helped build the Trump Tower. And yeah, as I said earlier, it would be fitting if a New York team made the 121st World Series. My next favorite one is Mariners and Reds. I said the Reds have a riddle to not only get to the World Series, but even win it. It sounds hard to believe, but yeah, the manager played for both teams, like all these other guys played for both teams. That would be the 2 seed versus the 6 seed. Seattle, or 6 seed versus 2 seed, depending on how you look at it. Reds equals 62 and 26. Seattle Mariners equals 62. If the Mariners do win 11 more, they'll get win number 101. 101 is the 26th prime. Blue Jays versus Cubs is also something to think about, because the Blue Jays are the 121 team, and they've got a guy named Kirk, and they would play Charlie Kirk's favorite team. And lastly, I don't think this one's going to happen. I mean, the Brewers do have that 90 connection with 121, but so 1 versus 1, like 11 in the 121st World Series. I mean, it's possible. But I mean, we just had 1 versus 1 last year when it was involving a New York team versus a team that used to be in New York when New York's the 11th state. So I feel like that was more applicable last year compared to this year. Remember, 2 years ago was the 119th World Series. Remember, 263 was a huge number on 9/11, the 56th prime. We had the 5 seed versus the 6 seed, and Game 1 ended 5-6. Arizona was the other team, like how Bill Cooper died on the day leaving 56 days left in the year after he was born on 5/6, and he died in Arizona. And a couple years, let me change the tab here. All right, so remember what year was it? 2022. The Houston Astros, or no, maybe is it just Astros? Shoot, what's the Astros 61 connection? Why do I feel like there's? Maybe it's escaping me right now. Oh, I remember what it is. So Jesus is 61, right? IHS is also 18. 61 is the 18th prime number. So the Astros won the World Series in their 61st season against the Phillies, and that was the 6 seed versus the 1 seed. The Phillies were the 6 seed, Astros were the 1 seed. Well, also the funny thing about 61, 283 is the 61st prime number. Remember the Falcons blew that 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl? That Super Bowl was in Houston, funny enough. So that was 2 years ago. And then we had Society of Jesus, 56, 5 seed versus 6 seed, Rangers D-backs. That was, I've done a video on that. That was a huge Society of Jesus ritual. Also, and it was a skull and crossbones ritual too. 263, the 56th prime. Excuse me. And then last year, well, 111 won't do it, but take my word for it. New York. Where is it going to say 11? Yeah, 11th state, okay? Ended in New York. And then they ended up holding their Dodgers ended up holding their World Series parade on 11/1. And they used to be in New York. Okay. Let me go back to my notes here real quick. Okay, is there anything else that I need to talk about? Let me check the chat, see if anyone is saying anything. Nope. Okay, that makes it easy for me. Is there anything else that I need to talk about? Yeah, I don't think there's really anything else that I need to talk about. We'll see what happens. And yeah, the thing is with the Mariners, I don't know why it took so long for me to really catch on. Again, Seattle on the 47th parallel. I thought, oh, maybe the Rangers will win it with or the Rangers getting their 47th playoff win. Nope, that didn't happen. Yeah, but I would just say, watch out for those Reds. Watch out for those Reds. I don't think they have numbers to win it all. I don't think they are going to win it all, but don't be surprised if they make it to the NLCS or even the World Series. Oh, I guess the one thing that I did want to show was I wanted to look at the guys on the Mariners. The guy on the Mariners who used to play for the... Here, this guy who's on the Mariners used to play for the Reds. Just like Dan Wilson. Started off with the Tigers too. That's interesting. The other guy on the Mariners to look out for is this guy Julio Rodriguez, because he is number 44. Where's our 40? Ichiro 44, Seattle 44, and he's born on that 12/29 date, that 201 date, 12/29, the 201st prime. And I think actually from his birthday, or from the potential, okay, let's just, from what I'm thinking is going to be the World Series parade date until his birthday is 57 days later. It is 1 month, 27 days later too. Remember, that's that big 9/11 number. Oh, one thing that I guess I still need to talk about is... I talked about this in my live stream the other day. Minoru Yamasaki from Seattle designed the World Trade Center. Japanese. I'm looking at my notes on my phone here. It was... okay. So he died in Detroit. Yeah, there's another Detroit reference. So he was born on 1/21. Like, this is the 121st World Series. Let's look at the... let's look at the distance from the anniversary of his death date, February 6th. So that's 200 from the anniversary of his death date to the potential World Series parade date is 269 days, which is the 57th prime number. World Series equals 57. And he's born on 1/21 in Seattle. This is the 121st World Series. And this would be, who's dead in 86, right? So 2025 minus 1986 is 39 years. And what did we say is, again, New York is 39, but 56 is the 39th composite number. Like how Seattle, WA, and Mariners both equals 56, and 56 has been huge throughout their history. Let's just look at this Mariners playoff record, because I want to show you this. Mariners playoff. Oh, okay, yeah, it did show up. In the first time they made the playoffs, they went 5-6 in the playoffs. If we let's look at Mariners playoff record versus Guardians, who they might play in the second round. No, they're 5-6 against the Indians/Guardians in the playoffs. Let's look at Mariners playoff record versus Yankees before 2001. Oh, it was also 5 and 6. How about that? So he died at 73, which is, I want to think, what's the 73rd prime number? It's probably somewhere in the 90s, right? '73. What's the 73rd? 99 is the 73rd composite. I know how U.S. Route 99, which is now State Route 99, goes through Seattle. What's the 73rd semi-prime? 218. Oh, it's Trump equals 218 in that weird Francis Bacon cipher. I know I've talked about this before. How many days after his birthday did he die? 12/1/1985 until 2/6/1986. Is that right? Yeah, 1986. So that would have been, yeah, so 67 days. Sacrifices. Was it 60? Oh no, it's not. It's blood sacrifice. Blood sacrifice. 121 is 67. Born on 12/1, dead 67 days after his birthday in 1986. I think it's a human sacrifice. Yeah, human sacrifice is also 67 and 86. Let's look at what was the date numerologies? 37. What is his name equal in Gematria? Yamasaki. So yeah, his name equals 62, like how he died on 6/2. So what's his 43rd composite number? Like Mariners is 43. Oh, we're at 57 minutes right now. That's fitting. I know 91's the 13th composite, or sorry, not 13th, the 13th triangular and 31st semi-prime. How many days before his birthday? I want to look at that. 298. Span of 299. 299 is a semi-prime because it's 13 times 23. Then now look at that, 94th semi-prime. So dead a span of 294 days before his birthday. I don't have it up here, but Seattle, Washington, 94. And Seattle, Washington, 68. World Trade Center construction began in 68. 247 is a semi-prime too. Which semi-prime is it? The 79th semi-prime, like Society of Jesus. Yeah, very interesting. Was there anything else I wanted to talk about? I don't really know if there's anything else that I wanted to talk about. I think I've pretty much covered everything. Well, I do want to see actually how many days. So I know how many days after. Okay, so it's 12 weeks in the potential World Series parade date is 12 weeks in 1 day after Ichiro's jersey retirement date. So that's something to think about. Blue Jays clinched the playoffs on Charlie Kirk's funeral date. So what was that? The 21st of September? I don't think 219. 219. Oh, wow, look at all those semi-primes. 74th semi. Interesting. The Blue Jays definitely have numbers. You've been telling me that for a couple months. But the only thing is with the Blue Jays is that I I don't see any other connections with like the Little League World Series or the College World Series, and there's usually connection between those events and the eventual World Series winner. And what about until the start? Let's just do until the potential end of the World Series. So 11 weeks and 6 days after Ichiro's retirement date could be the end of the World Series. I should say number retirement. Attack on Pearl Harbor is 160. Remember they won. The Mariners won 116 games in 2001. 314. What's interesting about that is Ichiro had a Japanese teammate when he was on the Mariners, Kazuhiro Sasaki. And look what his ERA was in MLB, 314. Do you think that's a coincidence? When's his birthday? Yeah, he's got that 222 birthday. I forget what 222. There was something else with 222 that I'm not remembering. Was just Pearl? No, maybe not. Okay. What about... As we've already kind of talked about. Oh, well, it's something, I guess, that one more thing we can look at. Ichiro's birthday is coming up soon, but if you want to go far in advance, if the Mariners do win the World Series on 10/31, it'll be a span of 51 weeks, span of exactly 51 weeks before his next birthday. Of course, he wore number 51. 51 was huge. 51 was huge last year with the Dodgers, with all their Japanese guys, and they won it. Cool, because it's huge with the Illuminati, which is why. So that's another thing to think about. But is 357 a prime number? No, it's not. It's not even a semi-prime. Okay. Okay. It is. I've been going for over an hour now. Again, we'll see what happens. As I said here, I think if I were to pick a World Series, hold on, is my tab switched? Did my window switch over? It should have switched over. Maybe this is just behind. Okay, yeah, good. My tab did switch over. As I said earlier, I think if I were to pick a World Series right now, I would say Cubs versus Mariners, and Cubs would win it in 6. And what's interesting is if you look at the Cubs, hang on, nope, what's going on here? Why can't I see? Here we go. So if we look at let's just look up Mariners record versus Cubs, right? So they played 28 games against them, but if it goes 6 games, it'll be the 34th all-time matchup between the two teams, and Charlie Kirk died 34 days before his birthday. Well, another thing to look at is if we have Mariners versus Reds. Again, if that goes to 6, they'll get their not only would they get their 25th all-time win against the Reds, and Mariners equals 25, or sorry, Mariners equals 97, but which is the 25th prime. They've played 27 games against them, so if they won in 6, it would be the 33rd all-time matchup between the two teams. When 49 is the 33rd composite, and they're in their 49th season, and 33 is the 11th semi-prime, like how 121 is the 11th square. And Ken Griffey Jr.'s dad played for the Yankees, and then he played for the Reds, and Ken Griffey Jr. then later played for the Reds, and Dan Wilson, before he played for the Mariners, was on the Reds, and same thing with Eugenio Suarez, and Mike Cameron. Yeah, okay. That's actually one thing I guess that no, I think we've looked at enough. William Shatner, is that the Star Trek? Is that a Star Trek actor? I'm terrible with actors' names and stuff. William Shatner, yeah, Captain Kirk. Is that okay? Is that 322 birthday? We'll see. I'm not ruling out the Blue Jays. I just don't think they have quite as strong a riddle as the Mariners out of the American League. But interesting. Oh shoot, I just had something on my mind. Now I forgot what it was. It'll probably come back to me sometime tomorrow. But oh yeah, no, you reminded me of something. There's this other Canadian actor. This guy Tom Cavanaugh. His role of the Reverse Flash. I've talked about this before because this is off topic, but when you talked about Canadian actors, you reminded me of him. Because the reason why this is important is because he plays the role of Harrison Wells, who faked his car, well, he didn't fake his death, but the Reverse Flash killed Harrison Wells and then took on the body of Harrison Wells and faked that he was in a car accident and he was in a wheelchair, when in reality he wasn't in a wheelchair. And it reminded me of the current governor of Texas, where I live, who's Greg Abbott, who is allegedly disabled and in a wheelchair, although yeah, there he is. He's allegedly, and the reason why that was important is because he was born on the day leaving 66 days left in the year, and Greg Abbott was born on the 317th day of the year, which is the 66th prime, and he had his day of the World Series trophy 66 days after his 66th birthday, and what was it? I think he caught coronavirus on a day with 66 date numerology or something like that. But anyways, he was elected governor like right around the time that the Flash started. So you had me. That you reminded me of that. I've done a live stream on it, but I probably need to make a video on that just to like make it more clear. But okay, that's enough. I've talked about enough. It's been 60, almost 6. Yeah, we'll finish it at 68 minutes. It's a good Seattle number. Okay. All right. Catch you guys later.